This is Kardec Radio for Teens. Important life-changing events as seen through the Spiritist perspective.
Hello, beautiful friends. It is a great honor to be with you once again. Thank you for the gift of your companionship. Today we are going to revisit our dear Belinda. If you remember from last week, she was facing a very difficult challenge, which is to support her beloved friend who had made some very challenging decisions herself. But she finally came to be in peace with herself, Belinda and her friend, because they decided to support each other unconditionally rather than point fingers and play the blame game. So we are very proud of Belinda for the steps that she was able to take. She definitely, from what she said herself, seems to have gone beyond what she expected. What I mean by that is that her beautiful heart was able to expand. And every time, according to the illuminated spirits, every time we practice love, the muscles, spiritual muscles of our heart expand. So today, let us practice expanding the muscles of our hearts, spiritual hearts, even more by revisiting Belinda as she faces and discovers yet another life-changing opportunity which presents itself before us. So today we see Belinda at the university attending a lecture, but we notice that her head is going 1,000,000 miles an hour. Have you guys ever had this feeling where your body is sitting or standing still somewhere, but your mind travels in such a speed that it feels like you're traveling even faster than the speed of light? And you feel so overwhelmed by the swirling of constant thinking that you don't even know who you are anymore. This is how our dear Belinda feels at this very moment. Let us hear her emotional experiences and her thinking yet again in her own voice. Oh goodness, oh my gosh, I've been so overwhelmed lately with everything that Marianne has experienced, plus my sister Betania and school and all the homework and the reports and the discussions and the seminars. My mind is going 1,000,000 hours an hour, and oh my gosh, I have to go to yet another seminar discussion. I can't believe it. I can't even breathe. My mind is driving me crazy. I have so much to do. I have to go to the hospital. I have to attend 5 other lectures today. I don't know what to do. If this wasn't required, I wouldn't go. And oh my gosh, who needs to think about thought? I mean, seriously, why do they make me go to this kind of lecture? Learning about the power of thinking? What? Seriously? You're gonna make me sit through that? But oh well, I have to go. So here I am, and oh gosh, can you believe this doctor has the nerve to tell us that there is such a thing as the syndrome of or disorder of overthinking? What? Have you ever heard of such a thing? Seriously? I mean, I can't even stop thinking to hear him. But it seems like he's saying that the disorder of overthinking is related to the fact that we are always connected, always on the phone, always texting, always answering emails, always thinking about the next step to take, always looking at our agenda, always looking at our to-do lists, never feeling really happy with what we have done and feeling yet more nervous with what we have to do. I mean, seriously, guys? Seriously, dear diary? If it wasn't for you, I would have drove myself crazy, because seriously, as you can see, my mind never stops. Thank goodness for you. But oh my gosh, now the guy is saying that people who don't stay in the moment even experiences experience illnesses? Like what? Seriously? Illnesses? Like what? Oh, he's saying that we may feel headaches and muscle aches and all kinds of aches, even stomach aches if we overthink our day through and we don't pay attention to where we are and we forget that we are connected to the body and we allow our minds to travel a million hours an hour. Hey, dear diary, you know what? That sounds like me. Oh gosh. Woo! I've thought so much throughout this lecture that I'm running out of breath. I think I better take a break, right, dear diary? What do you think? Oh goodness. See you next time. So as you can hear, dear friends, our dear Belinda is going through yet another important turning point or learning experience in her life. She now noticed that her mind is moving a lot faster than her body is able to, and she constantly, as you can hear in her own very voice, experiences frustration because she feels as though the more she does, the more she attempts to accomplish, the less she gets done. It seems as though for her, as you heard in her diary entry, that the to-do list never ends. And if she stops to listen to someone or take care of herself, it seems to be a waste of time. It seems that for her, she's doing nothing. And it seems that her brain or her mind, her spirit, is a little bit addicted to that rush, that feeling of always being on the move, moving from one activity to the next, even when she's in class or watching a lecture. As you heard, dear friends, her mind is literally racing, going out of control. It is as though she is running a marathon inside of her mind constantly. And as you could hear from her own voice, this can be, especially for Belinda, this can be a very tiring and exhausting and even unbalancing process. Belinda is even starting to feel sick. She shared with us now that she is experiencing stomach aches, muscle aches, and headaches. So it seems that she's a candidate for some inner journey and relaxation process. If you identify yourself with her, dear friend, have you ever considered the possibility of stopping whatever it is that you're doing for 5 minutes to get in touch with yourself, with your inner nature, with your inner world? Have you ever considered, dear friends, to take an inner journey? In our Spiritist philosophy, taking an inner journey is a very important invitation that the illuminated spirits offer us. The Spirit's book itself and the Gospel according to Spiritism only came to us because our dear educator, researcher, Allan Kardec took the time to take this inner journey and think of questions that he would like to ask the illuminated spirits, representing essential turning points and dilemmas that he would like all of us to be aware of. So it was only because of his very own inner journey that he could become aware of the very essential questions that we discuss in this program with you. And also, anytime we enter, for example, a very beautiful creative process, as the one described by André Luiz, the process of even watching a lecture in the spiritual world, or even here, as Belinda did, the only reason we can absorb and acquire that knowledge is because we are quiet in the inside, so we can hear our own inner voice and take in the gifts that that other person has to offer. So in order for us to engage in an authentic or true give and take process, it is needed that we take a break literally inside of us and open space to the new. Stretch the muscles of our minds more and more so we can make space to the new. André Luiz, in the books that he psychographed through the beloved medium Chico Xavier, indicates that the spirits who haven't yet found a balance for themselves, an inner balance in the spiritual world, remain stuck in a vicious cycle of pain and suffering because they too, my dear friends, cannot stop the hurricane of thinking. And what this hurricane of thinking does to them is gets them stuck in the one experience that they have been traumatized in, and they experience that over and over and over again. Think about it this way. Sometimes when we say something hastily, something that we didn't really mean, sometimes we have a hard time stop thinking about it. It's like we are like a broken record, repeating the inner dialogue over and over again, and it's as if we are permanently stuck in that moment until we make space for the new, until we make room for new possibilities, until we make room for a change of course, change of thinking. But the question is, how do we make room for a change of thinking inside of us? First, my dear friends, neuroscience tells us that it is important for us to stop thinking. But how do we stop thinking? It's impossible, right? You may think, to turn off the mind. And yes, you're right. It is kind of challenging because we know the mind is the spirit reincarnated, and the spirit, thankfully, is always active. So all of us are active. But how do we educate ourselves to be in the moment? Neuroscience, thankfully, has some very nice tips to offer to us. One is the fact that we can, and you may try this now if you wish, my dear friends, you can take a deep breath in and a deep breath out and repeat once again, deep breath in and deep breath out. And this, dear friends, this simple breathing process will get you literally grounded within your body, and your spirit, your mind will have more clarity to open space for new possibilities, especially when us, may feel stuck for any reason. Another tip that neuroscience has recently offered us is the use of affirmations. What are affirmations? Affirmations are positive statements that showcase a goal that we want to achieve. We can train the mind, the spirit, to achieve that goal by telling ourselves over and over that that goal is possible. So if I'm having trouble, dear friends, staying in the moment, connecting my mind to my body and to my inner nature, what I can do is do an affirmation like this: I am ready, willing, and able to stay in the moment. I am ready, willing, and able to stay in the moment. Breathing in and out, I say, I am ready, willing, and able to stay in the moment. I could also say, I enjoy the gifts that the moment has to offer me. I enjoy the gifts that the moment has to offer me. I'm open to accepting the gifts that the present has to offer me. So I can repeat these positive statements as many times as necessary to calm down the racing of the mind and the racing of the heart. We, dear friends, don't necessarily need to constantly run an inner marathon. To open space to the new, stillness can be a gift. So, just to recap, we can breathe in and out and also do affirmations. If you would like to see for yourself more affirmations, please search on the internet for Louise Hayes or Hay House, because Louise Hayes is a psychologist that has done a lot of healing herself and is very in alignment with our Spiritist philosophy, and she has many beautiful affirmations which you can take advantage of if you wish. She even has affirmation cards that are beautifully designed by wonderful artists to inspire us. I particularly have one deck of cards called Yes Can Do or I Can Do It, to affirm to myself that my limitations are but temporary, they are but learning tools for me to progress. And you may be wondering, okay, I could breathe and I could do affirmations, but what else can I do? Once again, dear friends, according to neuroscience, we have recently learned as of 2015, according to Dr. Vanessa Anceloni, one of our dear Kardec Radio hosts and Kardec Radio founder. She's a neuroscientist herself, and according to studies that she has examined, another exercise we can engage in to empower ourselves to stay present in the moment is to do visualizations. So if there's a difficult situation in which we are in, or if we are having trouble, dear friends, staying grounded, present in the moment, we can close our eyes for a second and we can visualize ourselves staying present, staying calm, staying grounded, staying open for new opportunities that are coming our way. So if we are at school, for example, and our mind is racing, we can visualize ourselves staying in the present, sitting at our desk, being calm and centered. We can visualize our breathing, we can visualize our body posture, we can visualize the words that we are going to exchange with one another. And in this way, dear friends, we can literally construct our present. Because according to André Luiz, the spirit doctor who psychographed many wonderful books through the Brazilian medium Chico Xavier, our thoughts are forms, energy forms that become reality, that project themselves out of our minds onto the world around us and create energy, create the environment and shape the environment in which we are in. In the book Genesis by Allan Kardec, there is a whole chapter on the power of thought, and the illuminated spirits share the fact that thoughts are like tools or hands for the spirits, that we as spirits, even if we are incarnated like you and I, my dear friends, can manipulate energy to our own advantage, as someone would manipulate their cell phones to text another person. So we are constantly wirelessly texting each other through our thoughts, creating thought forms and sending messages from one person to the next and even to ourselves without even noticing. So if we're already very good at texting, using our wonderful phones, why not practice spiritual texting by sending out positive, nurturing messages not only to ourselves but to the friends around us? But you may be wondering now, dear friends, how do I accomplish? Is it even possible to accomplish such significant changes completely by myself? And that's a very valid question, a question that I confess I have asked myself very often. Thankfully, once again, our beautiful educator, researcher, codifier, Allan Kardec, who kindly and beautifully put the Spiritist philosophy together for us, compiling all the information that the illuminated spirits wanted to share with us. Luckily, Kardec provides us with the answer. He asked a very similar question to the illuminated spirits in the Spirits book as he was compiling it. So I would like to share this very answer from the spirits with you so that you too can feel the love that our illuminated brothers and sisters have to share with us. The question I am referring to is question 495, part 2 of the Spirits book, called Spiritual Intervention, chapter 13. Once again, question 495. And the question Kardec asks is, will a spirit guide sometimes abandon its incarnate friend if they refuse to follow their advice? Or will incarnate spirit always have a protecting, guiding, or guardian angel around them? And the answer from the illuminated spirits is the following. If there is a single doctrine that through its charm and beauty should win over the incredulous, it is this one of spirit guides or guardian angels. What an enormous consolation it is to think that you are always near superior beings to yourself who will advise you, sustain you, and aid you in climbing the steep ascent of self-improvement. Beings, moreover, whose friendship is truer and more devoted than the most intimate union earth can offer. Those beings have been placed near you following God's directives and are there out of their love of God. They fulfill a noble but difficult mission. Wherever you are, they are also, in prisons and houses of ill repute, in your loneliness, in your sickness. Nothing ever separates you from them. These friends whom you cannot see, but whose gentle persuasions you feel, and whose wise instructions you hear in the most inner recesses of your heart. To those who think it is impossible that spirits of high degree would bind themselves to so difficult a task, requiring so much patience, we reply that God has not given us tasks above our strengths, nor has God abandoned you on earth without friends and support. To us, distance is nothing. We can communicate with you from many millions of miles away, from any sphere at which we find ourselves. We possess facilities or faculties you cannot imagine. Every guardian angel has an incarnate friend and watches over this incarnate friend as a parent watches over a child, rejoicing when he or she follows the right road. Don't be Don't be afraid of tiring us with your questions. On the contrary, always stay in contact with us. You will be stronger and happier for it. It is this ability to communicate with your guardian angel that makes you an extrasensorial being, and that one day will drive disbelief in us from your world. You have received instructions. Instruct in your turn. You have talents. Raise up your fellow human beings. You do not know how great the work is that you perform. It is the work of Christ, the work God has given you. Why has God supplied you with intelligence and knowledge, if not to share them with your fellow, to help them advance on the road to eternal happiness? How beautiful is that, dear friends? As you can see, it is but a fact, a proven fact, according to the illuminated spirits, that we are literally never alone, and that each of us have a super wonderful life coach with us all the time, in sickness and in health, in joy and in sadness, to support us and remind us of our strengths. They are like a nurturing parent or friend or guardian, literally, who kindly watches over us and communicates with us through thoughts, nurturing, loving thoughts. This is why it's both important and possible for us to educate our minds and to find an inner temple inside of our hearts, so that we can listen to the loving messages that each and every one of our guardian angels have to offer us. So anytime now, this week, dear friends, that we may feel like we are in dire circumstances, that we are a bit overwhelmed with whatever life experiences we are faced, we will practice together, dear friends, myself included. This is our beautiful challenge of the week, to connect our hearts to our guardian angel's heart, knowing that they will have nothing but love and wise messages to offer us, to encourage us, to support us, like a spiritual trainer, bringing us to the quote-unquote gym of the spirit, making every part of our hearts stronger, so we can stretch our hearts, like we said in the beginning, to experience new feelings, more beautiful emotions, and to embrace more opportunities to love ourselves. So in an effort to be more in contact, dear friends, with our inner nature, let us now do a little visualization together. Once again, breathing in and out. Let us visualize ourselves in front of a waterfall, in a small river front, surrounded by beautiful flowers, as we listen in this beautiful sunny spring day to the butterflies and birds singing in joy to the gift of our presence. Let us then place ourselves little by little in contact with this little lake. Let us wet our feet and the rest of our bodies little by little, until we see ourselves immersed under the waterfall. As the waterfall gently embraces our body, let us allow this beautiful waterfall to wash away any worries, frustrations, fear, anxiety that we may feel. Let us imagine that the waterfall is our guardian angel's embrace to us. Knowing now that we are never alone, we surrender ourselves, our hearts in its entirety to this beautiful embrace. And feeling renewed, we bring ourselves out of the waterfall, and we see at this moment the guardian angel who has always constantly watched for us. We confide in them, in her, our worries, and we say that for this week we will experiment trusting. We will experiment surrendering to her love. We then embrace our guardian angel and listen to the loving words she has to share. She says to us, "Don't worry, my dear friend. I'm always here for you. Please count on me. You will always be safe with me." And feeling now one with our own divine nature, we see that our guardian angel disappears and is absorbed into our very own hearts. We see now that our hearts are beating in a more calm fashion and that we feel more fulfilled in the inside. As we look at ourselves, we see ourselves shining beautifully with a lovely, comforting, healing light. And we promise ourselves to cultivate this light by saying to ourselves, "I am beautiful. I am a child of God. I am born to love and to be loved." Once again, I am beautiful. I am a child of God. I am born to love and to be loved. So be it. We hope, dear friends, that you feel the loving embrace that all the spirits who love you and surround you are sending your way. And until we meet again, I wish you many beautiful, loving blessings.